The movie begins with Jimmy and Ben, who are very close friends, getting ready to go to school. They head to the school cafeteria, and each of them starts talking about their partner. Jimmy tells him, "My relationship with Simon is limited to phone conversations, and all we talk about is his training problems or his dreams after graduation. I've never heard any romantic words from him, or even felt that he cares about my feelings." Ben responds, "My situation is a bit different because Claire wants to talk to me 24/7 to the point that she doesn't leave me any space at all. I end up knowing everything about her because we're always on video calls." We notice from their conversation that both of them are unhappy and dissatisfied with their relationships. Meanwhile, a student sitting next to them asks Ben, "Are you going to attend the party your roommate is throwing?" Ben is surprised because he didn't know anything about it, and Jimmy is also shocked that the girls weren't invited to the party. She tells Ben, "We're losers. None of the students think about us or consider us. The proof is that they didn't even think to invite us to the party, which is actually happening in your room." Ben replies, "We don't even care about that stuff. Don't you remember you told me we can't hang out with the students because we have no intellectual connection with them? I think we're destined to only know the people we're dating, the ones we think we love." And it seems Ben isn't sure about his love for Claire, or feels like it might just be attachment and not real love. When it's time for their class, Ben refuses to go up with Jimmy because his girlfriend Claire is calling him. Jimmy tells him, "How long are you going to stay at her beck and call? You need to wake up and focus on your own life." Ben says, "Okay, I'll listen to you later. Just write down the important notes until I catch up." Ben answers Claire's call, and she keeps telling him how much she misses him. Then she tells him that she's going to sing at the city celebration and that she's nervous and doesn't know what to do. So Ben tells her, "You've got this, baby, and I'm sure you're going to impress everyone there. And don't worry, I'll be there, always behind you, supporting you." At that moment, Jimmy shows up and says, "Seriously? You stayed talking to her and skipped class? I think this relationship is ruining your life and your future." Ben replies, "She just needed my help and support because she's going to sing at the city celebration." Jimmy says, "Fine, support her, stand by her, but right now she's draining you. Look, give me that phone, go live your life freely, and I'll return it to you tomorrow." And he actually does that. Ben hands over the phone and heads out into the streets, skating around and living a beautiful, freeing experience. That's when we start to realize that his relationship with Claire is really suffocating him and holding him back, and that Jimmy was right about everything. Meanwhile, Jimmy's roommate introduces her to her friend Irene, and we see that Jimmy totally doesn't fit in with them or their sense of humor, as if there's a huge intellectual gap between them. Back to Ben. When he gets to his dorm, he finds his roommate Tyler has taken his bed and all his stuff out of the room. So Ben asks him, "Why did you move my bed and throw my stuff out?" Tyler, with total nerve, says, "I needed to make space in the room for the party I'm throwing tonight, and your bed was cramping it a bit." From the way Ben handles it, we can see he's passive and doesn't know how to stand up for himself. And of course, that's going to cause him a lot of problems down the line. Back to Jimmy. Her roommates invite her to come with them to a party happening outside of school. "Come on, girl. You have to say yes. It's going to be a fun party, dancing and good vibes." And we see Jimmy is hesitant and nervous about going and mixing with the students. And if you're wondering why, just be patient. I'll explain everything later. Meanwhile, Tyler tells Ben, "I'm taking your car. I've got somewhere to go." And even though Ben tries to refuse, he ends up letting Tyler take the car because he's too passive to stop him. At that moment, the school security knocks on their door and informs Ben that his parents have been trying to reach him since the morning and couldn't get through. Turns out it's because his girlfriend Claire called them, worried because he wasn't answering his phone. Ben goes with Jimmy to the laundry room and tells her that Claire got worried and contacted his parents. Jimmy says, "You need to get that girl to chill out a bit. She's not giving you any space at all." Then she tells him, "My roommate wants me to go to the party with her, and honestly, I don't like the idea. That whole vibe of schoolgirls hanging out together doesn't suit me. Imagine us being close friends, then attending each other's weddings, and then our kids become friends. That's just not for me." Ben is surprised and says, "Why do you talk about every good thing like it's something bad? Girl, go make some friends and hang out instead of staying stuck in this loneliness." Or wait, is this about the homewrecker label that's followed you since elementary school? Jimmy says, "Don't connect everything together. You don't even know what really happened at that party. Megan and I were super close. We used to go everywhere together. One day we were at a party at her house and I got stung by a bee. Since I'm allergic to bee stings, I went to her dad, who's supposed to be a doctor. And because I was scared something bad would happen, I took off my t-shirt so he could see the sting. That moment made all the students look at me weird. A few days later, Megan's mom and dad got divorced because her mom suspected he wasn't a decent guy, and all that was because of me. Megan cut me off, and ever since then, all the students started calling me the homewrecker. Ben says, still, that doesn't mean you shouldn't enjoy your life. Come on, let's go out tonight and have fun. Maybe things will get better. And since Jimmy really loves her friend, she doesn't want to upset him, so she agrees to go to the party with him. First, they go to the party that Tyler is throwing in his dorm room. They dance, sing, and have a great time filled with joy and happiness. Then, they head out with the rest of the students to the second party happening outside the school. While they're on their way, their friend Plumber calls to check on them. He tells them he's moved to Paris and is now working in a restaurant there. He keeps praising Paris and its beautiful, romantic atmosphere. Then he tells them he's coming back for a short vacation before the city celebration and that he'll be waiting to see them because he really misses them. They arrive at the party and each of them goes off to their own group. Ben heads over to Tyler and Tyler tapes Ben's hands with duct tape to make sure he gets into the party spirit and doesn't leave. Meanwhile, Jimmy goes to hang out with her roommate and they start joking and laughing together. Looks like she's finally getting comfortable around people again, and maybe she's starting to overcome her social anxiety. On Ben's side, a girl approaches him and tries to get close, but he keeps pulling back, telling her, I'm in a relationship. I have a girlfriend. But the girl refuses to listen and keeps leaning in, hoping he'll change his mind and date her. Of course, he can't push her away because his hands are taped. Back to Jimmy. She heads upstairs to a room by herself to call her boyfriend Simon after he sent her a message. She feels hot, so she starts taking off her clothes because the AC isn't working. But while she's doing that, she hears someone entering the room, so she hides in the bathroom. Meanwhile, Ben's phone starts ringing and he tells the girl, I'm loyal to my girlfriend, so stop wasting your time on me. I'm never going to be with you. Then he runs to Tyler and says, my phone's ringing. Check who's calling. Tyler says, it's a message from Jimmy saying, help me. I'm stuck on the upper floor. Ben rushes up to help her and is shocked to find her not wearing clothes. She says, give me your t-shirt and go grab my clothes from the other room. Ben tries to sneak over and get the clothes without either couple noticing, but he accidentally gets caught. Both couples scream and expose them, kicking them out of the party. Then, the same girl who tried to get with Ben comes up to him and says, you kept going on about being loyal to your girlfriend, and now you're sneaking into people's bedrooms? You're disgusting. Get out of here. You creep. I don't want to see your face again. Ben and Jimmy head back to the dorm feeling miserable about everything that happened. They just can't seem to connect with the other students. There's always this gap between them. Jimmy says, what happened to us tonight is because we're in relationships with people who aren't right for us. I ended up in that situation because of Simon. Honestly, I don't even think I really love Simon. I just call him when I'm stressed and need someone to calm me down. Ben replies, I'm not sure I love Claire either, but even so, I couldn't bring myself to cheat on her tonight. I kept telling that girl I was taken. Still, my relationship with Claire is draining me. She wants me to be available for her all the time. You know, the day you took my phone was the happiest I've felt in a long time. Do you think if I travel somewhere and put my phone on airplane mode, I'll finally feel at peace? Jimmy tells him, no, that's just a temporary fix. We need to break up with them. These relationships aren't right for us at all. Look, we're going to break up with them together, and then we'll start fresh and actually enjoy our lives. At the diner, they agree to end their relationships, but not over the phone or by text. No, they decide to do it face-to-face over Thanksgiving because they believe Claire and Simon deserve that level of respect. At the library, they plan everything: when they'll leave school, how they'll meet their partners, and how to break up with them without hurting their feelings. They settle on a time to leave and head to the parking garage to grab Ben's car and hit the road. But when they get there, the car is gone. Ben suspects Tyler took it, so he calls him to get it back. Tyler shocks him by saying, "Get what back? I'm already in town with the car. I'm visiting my family." When Jimmy hears that, she gets mad and snaps at Ben. "How long are you going to stay this passive and let people just take your stuff without asking?" Ben says, "Let's save this talk for later. Come on, let's catch the bus before we miss it." They make it to the bus just in time, but there aren't any two seats next to each other. So Jimmy goes up to someone and politely asks if he can let them sit together. He refuses. She goes back again and says, "My fiancé has hyperactivity issues, and I'm his legal guardian. And the doctor recommended that I sit next to him during transportation, so he doesn't bother anyone," Jimmy adds. The man understands and moves to another seat. That way, Jimmy gets to sit next to Ben for the whole ride so they can talk through their plan in detail. They call Plumber and tell him they're breaking up with Simon and Claire tonight. But since they're running late, they won't be able to catch them anywhere else except at his place. Because by now, Claire is probably singing at the celebration. After that, both of them will likely head to the student party, and they can't really have that conversation at the party. So the best option is for Plumber to invite them to wait at his house until they arrive. Plumber agrees without hesitation and heads over to Simon to let him know, "Jimmy's waiting for you at my place tonight." At that moment, the coach walks by, greets Plumber and says, "Hey, where have you been? Haven't seen you in a while." Plumber replies, "I went to Paris and worked there during break. Anyway, it's good to see you, coach. Take care." Back on the bus, Ben and Jimmy rehearse what they're going to say when they finally meet Claire and Simon. Ben says, "I'll tell her, Claire, what we had was special, but I just don't see a future in this relationship anymore. I'm moving away. And honestly, I don't want to drag you into something that will only hurt you." Jimmy responds, "No, if you say that, she'll just cling to you more. You need to be direct and just say you want to break up. As for me, I'll tell Simon, I really wanted this to work between us. But this isn't your fault, Simon. The fact that we're not right for each other doesn't mean you're the problem." Just then, the man they asked to move earlier gets really angry and says, "Didn't you two say you were a couple? So how are you talking about breaking up with other people? Are people just toys to you? I can hear you rehearsing lines to make yourselves look good and make the other side think the breakup isn't their fault." Jimmy immediately jumps in to defend herself and says, "What's your problem anyway? This is our business." The man snaps back. "First of all, your voices are loud enough for the whole bus to hear." The man continues, "And besides, your fiance doesn't have hyperactivity or anything. You two tricked me, so until we get to town, I don't want to hear a word from either of you." Meanwhile, in town, Plumber attends the celebration where Claire is singing. After her performance, he gathers Claire and Simon and tells them, "Come on, let's head back to my place. Jimmy and Ben are meeting us there." They both agree and are excited, thinking they're finally going to see their partners. Back to Jimmy and Ben. They finally arrive in town, and Ben's mom welcomes them with open arms, thrilled to see her son again. Ben quickly whispers to her, "Mom, I haven't told Jimmy yet that I'm leaving to study abroad, so don't say anything until I bring it up." At Plumber's place, he hosts Claire and Simon and starts offering them drinks he invented himself. They like the drink so much that they finish it all. Back in the car, Jimmy and Ben are riding with Ben's mom, and she keeps chatting with them, saying, "Tell me about your achievements. How's school? How are your friends?" Ben and Jimmy tell her that everything's fine. They're doing well, and life's been good. Then Ben asks his dad to drop them off at Plumber's house first, because they're supposed to meet him there. Meanwhile, after finishing the drinks, Claire and Simon start feeling lightheaded and lose control a bit. They wander out into the street in a complete daze, and Plumber doesn't notice because he's busy picking out his outfit in his room. By the time he realizes, he runs after them and finds them sitting on the sidewalk, blocking traffic at a red light. He starts apologizing to the drivers for the chaos his friends are causing. That's when he runs into the coach, who offers to help him get his friends back on their feet. At the same time, Ben and Jimmy arrive at Plumber's house, but no one's there. Ben finds a note from Claire saying she went to a certain location. Jimmy tries to call an Uber, but the car's going to take too long to arrive. So she heads down to Plumber's garage and takes his tandem bicycle. They both hop on and start riding around town, searching for Claire and Simon. Meanwhile, Plumber heads to a restaurant with the coach, leaving Claire and Simon in the car until they sober up. The coach introduces Plumber to a guy at the restaurant and tells him, "We're all part of a bowling team. We usually go play after work." As they head out, the coach says, "What do you think? Come with me tonight. Let's just hang out and have a good time." Back to Ben and Jimmy. They head to the bar where they think Claire and Simon might be. Jimmy manages to get past the security guy and is let in. But when Ben tries to follow, the bouncer stops him and says, "I remember you. You were a troublemaker back in the day, always causing drama. I'm not letting you in. Take your girl and stay away from this place." Meanwhile, Plumber and the coach drop Claire and Simon off at Plumber's house, and then Plumber decides to go out and join the coach and his friends for the night. Back to Ben and Jimmy. Ben says, "I think we should just let this whole thing go and head home. Yeah, I know I'm the reason we couldn't get into the bar, but maybe that's a sign. Let's call it a day." But Jimmy disagrees. "No, we made a decision, and we have to follow through. Let's find a way to get into the bar and talk to Simon and Claire." They go around to the back entrance, and there, Jimmy runs into a guy she used to know from elementary school. They greet each other and chat for a bit, reminiscing about old memories. Then she walks in with him, pretending like she was already inside and had just stepped out for a bit, so no one checks her ID. Inside, Jimmy goes off in one direction to look for Claire and Simon, while Ben searches in another part of the bar. Meanwhile, Plumber Plummer is with the coach at the bowling alley, where the coach introduces him to all his friends. They sit around chatting about what they love most and what they fear the most. Plummer admits, "I'm terrified of heights. I've never been able to go up high places." One of the coach's friends tells him, "We work in fire rescue, and most of our job involves going up into high places. You should come with us sometime. We'll help you face your fear." Plummer says, "Let me think about it. I'll get back to you." Then he joins them for a game of bowling, and the atmosphere is filled with joy and fun. Back at the bar, Ben spots someone who looks just like Claire and follows her into the photo booth, only to find out it's not Claire at all. The girl insists on taking a photo with Ben and keeps getting close to him as they pose, making it look like they're a couple. After the photos are taken, Ben goes to retrieve them from the booth, but she already snatched them. He follows her, asking for the pictures back, but she refuses. So, in desperation, he grabs her bag to search for the photos himself. She immediately runs to security and yells, "That guy over there is trying to steal from me." Meanwhile, Jimmy heads to the bathroom, where she unexpectedly runs into her childhood best friend, Megan. Jimmy looks visibly shaken the moment she sees her. Megan says, "I can't believe it's really you. Remember when we used to be best friends? I've tried to reach out so many times, but I could never find you. I know what I said about you hurt you and ruined your relationships with people. I blamed you because I didn't know how to deal with my parents' divorce. But the truth is, they didn't divorce because of you. They divorced because they weren't compatible. Can you forgive me, my friend?" Jimmy replies coldly, "Forgive you for what? Nothing even happened," and turns to walk away. But Megan stops her and says, "No, I know what I did was wrong. My dad even told me that what I said could traumatize you and affect your future relationships." Jimmy snaps, "What's done is done. You ruined everything with what you said. You made everyone hate me and push me away. And I kept thinking it was my fault your parents split up. And on top of all that, I lost my closest friend that day." Megan softly says, "Please, for my sake, forgive me. I'm truly sorry." Just then, Ben suddenly bursts into the room, yelling, "Jimmy, we have to run!" But the door hits Megan right in the face, injuring her. Meanwhile, the coach and his friend take Plummer to a fire department lift to help him confront his fear of heights. And it works. Plummer screams at the top of his lungs, "I'm not afraid anymore." Back with Ben and Jimmy, they're trying to escape the security guard, but don't know what to do. Jimmy quickly pulls the fire alarm, and suddenly all the students start running out of the party in a panic. And still, they don't find Simon or Claire. But the security guard spots them and starts chasing them until they finally manage to escape. Ben, completely frustrated, starts yelling at Jimmy, "You're ruining my life. You're trying to change me into someone who suits you. But you know what? You're the problem, Jimmy. You push everyone away, always looking for a fight. And now you want me to be like you, pushing everyone out of my life too. I like helping people, not hurting them or causing drama." Jimmy is stunned by his words, but before she can respond, they're both surprised to see Plummer riding on top of a fire truck with the coach. They rush over and ask Plummer if he knows where Claire and Simon are. Plummer, a bit embarrassed, says, "I just wanted to offer them a fun drink. I didn't know it'd knock them out. They're at my place." Just then, Claire wakes up and calls Ben. She tells him about the strong drink Plummer gave her and lets him know that she and Simon are now at Kurt's house waiting for them. Jimmy tries to figure out how they'll get there when suddenly Megan pulls up, calling out to them and offering a ride in her dad's car. They agree, and she drives them to Kurt's party. On the way, Jimmy decides to forgive Megan and let go of the past. Later, she tells Ben, "Thanks for what you said earlier. Meaningless. You've made it clear. I'll probably never have friends again." Ben responds, "I only said that because I'm leaving soon. I'm going abroad to study, and I didn't want to hurt anyone with my behavior before I go." Jimmy, surprised, says, "Oh, perfect. You're leaving too? Fine. Go meet people who are a better fit for you, people who don't annoy you or pressure you." She walks off into the party. Meanwhile, Simon sees her, hugs her tightly, and says, "I missed you so much. Come play with me for a bit." Jimmy wants to break up with him, but struggles to find the words. On the other side, Ben finds Claire, who also missed him dearly, and asks him to sit alone with her for a while. But before emotions sweep him away, Ben says, "There's something important I need to talk to you about first." Back to Jimmy. She decides to mess up the game table so she can get Simon alone. She takes him to sit under the treehouse, right beneath where Ben and Claire are. Ben finally tells Claire the truth, that he needs to break up with her. At that moment, Claire looks down and realizes that Jimmy is doing the same with Simon. She loses it. Storming down from the treehouse, she starts yelling at both of them. "You two are sick. You even planned your breakups together? Are you seriously that codependent?" She adds, "I've never liked the way you two are always glued to each other. And now I know I was right." Jimmy tries to explain, "You've got it all wrong. We needed to break up with you because these relationships are hurting us. We were never right for each other." Claire, clearly hurt, snaps back. "Oh, really? We're the ones hurting you? Not the fact that you two shut everyone else out and never give anyone a chance to get close? I've had enough. off and walks away with Simon, both feeling betrayed by Jimmy and Ben. Afterward, Jimmy sits with Ben and they start wondering if Claire had a point. Are they actually the ones who belong together? Ben says, honestly, I think if we tried dating, we'd ruin our friendship, but maybe it's worth trying. Suddenly, the moment turns romantic and the two confess their feelings. But just as things heat up, the fire truck siren blares. It turns out a fire broke out in Kurt's backyard. They hop in the truck with Plummer, each lost in thought. Ben is filled with doubt, realizing this might be the biggest mistake of his life and could destroy their friendship. On the other hand, Jimmy questions if Ben ever truly loved her and realizes all she ever felt for him was a friendship. In the following days, all four of them are consumed with sadness and confusion, unsure how to move forward or fix what's been broken. Then one day, Ben takes the initiative. He runs straight to Jimmy's house and tells her, I don't love you. Not like that. I want you as a friend, nothing more. Jimmy breathes a huge sigh of relief and says, that's exactly what I hoped you'd say. I was scared you were falling for me because I've only ever seen you as a friend too. Finally, they reconcile and return to being best friends, just like before. They each meet with their exes and calmly explain why the breakups had to happen. Time passes, and each of them heads off to a different college. Their bond survives through texts and calls alone, until one day, Jimmy is at a party with her girlfriends, dancing and having fun, when she suddenly sees Ben standing right in front of her. He smiles and says, I thought I'd surprise you and come party with you. The movie ends with them dancing, laughing, and celebrating the fact that they managed to preserve their friendship despite everything they went through.